Okay, so when we think about the advisor or inner voice, one thing that happens is that sometimes we think that that inner voice is actually in charge of what we do, that we have to listen to our advisor. So I'm going to give you an example just to illustrate that that's not true, that actually it's you that's in charge, and this advisor works for you, not the other way around. Okay, so I want you to imagine that you're living in your house, and I'm a trusted friend, and somebody moves next door to you, and I tell you, I know this person who's moved next door to you. They are a fabulous neighbor. They're the absolute best neighbor. I knew them from the old neighborhood. They bring you baked goods. They're really nice. They're super cool. You're going to love them. Okay, so I tell you this and you trust me. Now you leave your apartment or house and you see this next door neighbor waving to you. What do you think your advisor would say? So the advisor might say, oh yeah, this person's cool. You might feel positively towards the person. And you might want to approach them and say hello. Now this is super important. This is really one of the most important things you'll learn in this course. You are responding positively to this neighbor even though you've never had any experience with them. And that's the way the advisor works. It helps guide you even without experience. So this advisor is telling you this person's wonderful, and you're approaching them as if they're reinforcing, as if they're positive. Now, as far as we know, there is no nonverbal animal that will learn this way. The only way you can get an animal like a dog to approach this person would be if that person directly rewarded them. But notice how your advisor is making the world into positive things and sometimes negative things independently of any experience you had. Okay, but let's say I go back to you and I say, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake about this neighbor. They are from my old neighborhood, but it's somebody different. Actually, this neighbor is a really horrible person. I mean, they will be playing loud music at all times of night. They come and steal things from your house when you're not there. They're into drugs. They have people coming over all the time. This is the worst possible neighbor. Oh my gosh, you're going to have to deal with some hardship here. And now you walk out the door again, and this time the same neighbor is waving to you. How do you feel? What shows up for you, do you think? Now your advisor is probably saying, be careful, this person's dangerous, this person's bad, avoid this person, right? Your advisor is giving you advice and you're feeling probably tension and nervous. You're feeling like avoiding the neighbor now. And again, notice how you're avoiding without any experience of something bad happening. This is what advisors do. They create the experience. They make monsters present. Sometimes the monsters are present. But what if that's not the case with this neighbor? Maybe all the advice you've been giving about this neighbor is wrong. Who knows? What can you do? Your advisor's saying, be careful, this person's dangerous, but you're not sure your advisor's right. What can you do? There is a way around it, and this illustrates that the advisor is not in charge. You can shift into discover and doing mode. You can say, you know what, I hear you, advisor, but I'm just going to go over and introduce myself to this person. I'm going to say hello, and I'm going to see what happens. So the advisor is trying to protect you from trial and error. It wants to protect you from making all mistakes. But sometimes you kind of have to just take the advisor along and make the mistakes for yourself. Trial and error and find out for yourself. And this little example is a great example of how the advisor is not in charge, because you can have these negative thoughts about somebody and still be polite to them and still greet them and find out what kind of person they actually are. It's the same thing with just about everything we do. Like you can have the thoughts before you go to work out. Oh, I can't work out. I'm too tired. I can't do this. I'm just not motivated today. You can carry your advisor with you and work out even though you're having these thoughts. So the key skill with advisor comes down to a single word. And. Have your advisor and do what's important. And I'm sure you've done this many times in your life where your advisor was discouraging you and you still showed up and did what was important. So if you can learn to hear your advisor, see it, and carry it with you as you do the important things, then that will put the advisor in the right place. That you will be in charge of your advisor. It is not in charge of you.